was actually on Newsmax with me on Saturday, including the list of pardons is our next guest, former Trump 2016 foreign policy advisor and Newsmax contributor, George Papadopoulos. Welcome, George. What's happening?
Thanks for having me, Carl.
Oh, my pleasure. So you and I actually have spoke a little while back when you were going through this ridiculous process that you had to endure, which was crazy. Talk to us a little bit about your pardon, how it felt, how you got it, how it went.
Yeah, look, it was a momentous event for me and my family. It happened obviously on the cusp of Christmas, while my wife and I were just having kind of a kickback day on the sofa watching a little television. And my phone started blowing up, and the media and just hundreds of, God-loving patriots out there who have been following my story and some of the other stories associated to this major political scam sent out their heartfelt wishes and well wishes, and just letting me know that they've been praying and thinking of my family and I for years and following the story. So it really felt like this collective moment in which I think the entire country, not just with myself, but obviously with General Michael Flynn's pardon and Stone's pardon and everybody who got caught up in this, I felt that the country as a whole lived it with us. So I felt extra special that the president did that for me and my family, and it's something I'll always be grateful for.
So, I'm a huge acolyte of I listened to your show when you went on with Dan Bongino and laid this out for an hour. Unfortunately, we don't have an hour here tonight, but tell us a little bit about the run-of-the-mill and what happened with the FBI recordings, how basically the entire thing was fabricated. Talk to us a little bit about that in the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, look, I'm living this with the rest of the country almost weekly now with new declassified documents. Just last week, a new file was declassified in which the FBI apparently was wiretapping me and the vice president of Fox News while I was on the campaign. This was going back to the summer and winter of 2016, 2017. They were throwing various informants at me from various countries, honeypots, if you will, trying to seduce me. There was even an instance where money was in my lap. So I had everything in the kitchen sink thrown my way, but I didn't fall for it. And I guess that's exactly why they were so aggressive in their prosecution towards me, because they had so much to cover up that they had to find something or create something. And it just blew up in their face. And the country and the world saw it as what it was. And that was a major scam. The president was ready to be on offense the entire 2-year scandal, and he came out of this stronger and more resilient than ever, and they showed who Comey was, who Mueller was, and what the Obama administration was really up to, undermining the democratic process.
Yeah, we just figured out the fastest way to light $40 million on fire, too. So, this was funny, especially with the cash payments. This is the best part of the story is they wiretapped you. You confirmed nothing that they alleged in the wiretaps, yet they went forward with these warrants against you anyway. They held you for currency violations for, I believe it was, what was it, $10,000 that you had given to a lawyer because you're like, this seems like a pretty sketchy payment. I don't want to break any laws here. So can you check into this for me? And they arrest you for it anyway, right?
Yeah, that's one of the more bizarre aspects of the situation. And it goes back to what we were just discussing, how there seemed to be this, almost like they were an obsession over trying to get into every aspect of my life, from wiretapping me all the way back to the beginning of the campaign, sending these informants. And then after, I'm done with the campaign and, just living my life, I'm having this other setup in the summer of 2017 happen. The rest is history. But it really just goes to show you how far these people went to try and silence me, to try and force me to sing and compose for them in order to come up with a fabrication that would undermine the Trump presidency. It's something that I never would do. I may have lost the battle, but in the end, I think we all as a country won this war against the deep state, and that's what the president has been fighting for so long and in such a justified manner.
It's pretty interesting, though, that you talk about winning the war. I mean, the deep state, everyone uses the deep state and everyone, conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. There's a significant number of people. Look, I was a Trump appointee. I went through this for a year where you just try to stifle any movement that Trump wants done. And, it's interesting as we see this time and time again, the machine of D.C., we'll call it, it pushes so hard against anybody who wants any change. And Trump was very vocal about this, and he's very vocal about this election because he feels it was stolen. And I think there's a lot of people, including me, who have some serious questions about how things happen. I have no personal proof of fraud. However, I have a lot of questions that I still think remain unanswered, like this. President Trump tweeted out earlier, breaking news in Pennsylvania, there were 205,000 more votes cast than there were voters. This alone flips the state to President Trump. What do you think about that?
Look, I think that objecting to the Electoral College certification in any state in which there was an instance or instances of voter fraud like this, especially in Pennsylvania, which, as you and all of the viewers understand, is a critical state for this election, they should be completely objected, and it's a patriotic duty for Mike Pence to look into this on January 6th. The Supreme Court, for whatever reason, decided that they didn't want to take up these cases. That doesn't change the fact that President Trump was the only president in modern history who won both Ohio and Florida overwhelmingly and lost an election apparently by around 7 or 8 million votes. The numbers don't make sense. There was a red wave in Congress. The Senate likely will remain red. Yet Joe Biden squeaked out this 0.5% in key states that Dominion was used in like Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Arizona. And these state officials don't want to see the recount. And the president is absolutely correct to be fully transparent with the American people, to show these numbers and let the American people decide for themselves whether he is justified to seek a recount or to contest this vote.
Yeah, well, George, the thing is like, this, obviously the Dominion thing, I personally, and here at Newsmax, we haven't seen any evidence of any of this stuff, but there are questions that need to be answered. And I've seen hot tubs with more people in it than Joe Biden rallies. I don't know how he got more votes than anybody else has ever gotten in history. Former Trump 2016 foreign policy advisor and Newsmax contributor now, George Papadopoulos. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Carl.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.